Our team coverage of the deadly Metro North crash in New York continues now.
News 8's Brian Spyros is in Valhalla, where that Harlem Line Metro North train hit a Jeep Cherokee and a terrible tragedy ensued. Brian, what do you got for us as the latest?
Well, good morning, Jim and Allie. As you can imagine, an accident of this magnitude, emergency responders still here on the scene, and we know this morning that 7 people have lost their lives as a result of this accident. A dozen others are injured. If you take a look behind me, you can see a portion of that train there right on the other side of the trees, and it may be hard to tell from the vantage point of the camera, but the inside of that first rail car completely charred and damaged by fire. Now, here's what we know so far. The Harlem River Line commuter train left Grand Central right around 5:45 last night, packed with commuters heading north on the Harlem Line. 45 minutes later, the train slammed into an SUV, causing a massive explosion. According to officials, the SUV was at a railroad crossing, stopped in traffic, and that's when the crossing gates came down due to the oncoming train. Now, the woman in the SUV apparently got out to look at the back of the vehicle, possibly to see if there was any damage from that gate coming down. She then got back in the car, drove forward, and that's when the train hit her. Now, there are reports that one of the train cars came loose, then crashed into the passenger compartment of the lead car. As I mentioned just a moment ago, 6 passengers were killed in the train, as well as the driver of that SUV. 7 people in total, a dozen others injured. Other passengers were then moved to the back of the train to avoid smoke and flames, and about 400 of them were then taken to a local gym for shelter. Now, some first responders say this was one of the worst scenes they've ever come across.
The car was engulfed, the train was engulfed, a lot of people walking around in shock, everyone trying to figure out what they had to do and how fast they had to do it. And we're basically just trying to coordinate ourselves so that we can do the best we can. I hope I never have to see anything like this again. It's a true tragedy. You train for this, I hope that you never have to use your training. And when it does happen, at least we're ready for it.
Again, 17 people have died as a result of this accident, a dozen others injured. As Teresa had just mentioned, there are going to be some delays this morning along the Harlem Line that people have to keep in mind. The other thing that we also know is that there were people from Connecticut on board this train, but right now we don't know if anyone from Connecticut died in this crash. And we, of course, will continue to stay on top of this developing story and bring you more information as soon as it becomes available. For now, that's the very latest. We are reporting live this morning from Valhalla, New York. I'm Brian Spyros, News 8.